This is a hybrid between Roux and Ortega. I'm going to explain how it's similar to both. Now let's start with Ortega. Now the way that I do my OLL is I do my corners first. So a 2x2 is only corners. So I learned a lot of the corner orientation algorithms from learning Ortega, and I figured that I could apply that to the 3x3. And so that's how I do that. And then for the edge orientations, I used a few algorithms from Roux, which is what this is set up in right now, and that's what I used to do the edges. It's a little different, but if anyone here knows Roux, you'll see some small similarities. And boom, cubes magically appear. So this video is going to be separated into two different parts. There's going to be corner orientations and then edge orientations, and I'm going to be using these cubes here to show you them. So now let's get rid of these. So the first one that you should know is just solved. You don't have to do anything. It's the easiest case, obviously. So then the next one, this is the double headlights case. So you got headlights on the front and headlights on the back. So for this one, if you're already doing CFOP, you should already know this one if you have the cross already solved on top. So it's just F, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And that should orient all of the corners on top. The next one is the normal headlights case, where you have two on the top on the right and the headlights on the left. This is probably the easiest case. It's just F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And that solves all of them. The next one is called Chameleon. So you have the yellow on the top, and then you have Chameleon on the left, which is right here and right here. For this one, you just do R, U, R prime, U prime, and then you can use this like a sledgehammer, just like in an F2L pair. So it's R prime, F, R, F prime. And that should orient all of the corners. Now the next one, some people like to call this one the t-shirt case. That's because there's headlights on the left and Chameleon on the right. Now this one is very similar to the normal headlights case, except you just do the trigger one more time. So this one is F, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And that'll orient all of the corners. The last case that, oh no, there's two more cases, I forgot, is when these two are diagonal from each other on the top, and then these two are facing either towards you or away from you. I'm going to show you two different algorithms for this. It's all personal preference. They do the same thing. So the first one is F, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. And that should solve them. And let me set it up again. That's not right. There we go. So then the other way you can do this is have it so that these ones on the sides are facing away from you. Now the way that you do this one is just F, and then you do a T-perm, which if you're doing CFOP, you should already know this. It's a very basic algorithm that is used in a lot of different permutations. So it's just F, like I just did, and then just a T-perm. And then you just reverse that F move that you did in the beginning. And again, it should orient all of the corners on top. And now the very last case that I'm going to show you is the Sune and Antisune. Very, very fundamental algorithms. So this is Antisune. Now I always hold the one corner that is correct on the top right, and this one right here should be on the front left. Now the way you do this one is R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. Now the other way that Now the other Sune is just normal Sune, as opposed to Antisune, which I just showed you. Now this one, I hold this one on the bottom left, and this one right here is on the bottom right, if you're looking at it like this. So this one is just R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And that should be all of the possible orientations for corners on the last layer. Now we're going to get on to edge orientations. Now we are on to the edge orientations. Now there are only 3 possible ways, excluding the salt. So we're just going to get rid of that one right now. So there's only 3 possible ways that the edges can be oriented. Now you could technically solve all 3 of these with only 2 algorithms. The algorithm that you use for this one, you can use on this one twice, and it will do the exact same thing. But I'm going to show you the way that you can do that. I'm going to show you both ways to do this one. This is the hardest one, but it's really not that bad. So this one, I like to call this the arrow. As you can see, it's got like the arrow head right there, and then imagine like the body of the arrow coming back that way. So you want to have it pointing to your bottom right, like that. Now the way that you do this one is you do an M slice like that, called M prime, U, M, U2, M prime, U, M. And that should orient all of the edges. Now this one can be very fast, just like this. And I'm having trouble because it's on the camera. It's pretty easy. You'll get the hang of it really, really fast. Let's put that right there. This one is called the H orientation is what I like to call it. So focus, there we go. So obviously it just looks like an H, very easy to recognize. So now you hold it just so it looks like an H. So then the way that you do this one is R, U, R prime, U prime, and then you want to do an M prime move. And I like to think of this as pairing this white sticker, or piece of plastic in this case, up with another white one. And then I want to get rid of these 2 out of this little bar right here, because I want to patch these up too with these ones right here. So you're going to do U, R, U prime, and then you're going to want to do a little R prime or an RW prime. So that one's very easy. Oops. There it is. So again, R, U, R prime, U prime, M prime, U, R, U prime, and then right wedge prime or little R prime. And that will orient these 2 edges right here. Then there's this last one. This is what is called the hardest one in my opinion, but it's really simple. So now the way that you can do this one is a normal M, like that, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, M2, U, R, U prime, right wedge prime, or little r prime. And that should orient all of the edges. Now the way that I showed earlier that you could use the arrow one was that didn't work. There we go. So when you're like this, you can do the arrow, what do you call it? The arrow algorithm from any location on the cube. Like that. And then after that, if you want to do that algorithm again to solve it, you just do the normal arrow, just like this. Very simple. And that's it. That is all the algorithms you need to know to do my version of 2-Look OLL. So I think I'm going to do some example solves of me going just straight out of F2L to finishing out my OLL. Like I said, I'm going to do some example solves. Now these come right out of normal scrambles, not set up at all. And so I'm going to start off with this one. So I see that this one is the t-shirt case, so I'm just going to H, done. Now onto this one. I do know the OLL for this one, but I'm not going to cheat, and I'm just going to do it like I used to. Another H, wow, that's surprising again. And then this one, of course, is just the double headlights. Done. And then just straight on to PLL, which A perm, G perm, and a V perm. Yeah. So those are the example solves. If you guys like this tutorial and my little tips and tricks, leave a like, subscribe, comment. I'm open to suggestions if you guys want any more videos. Have a great day.